Hi, I'm Rick from Subaquatic Sports. May's here, and now's the time to start planning your diving vacations for this summer. Don't have a lot of time? You don't need it. We've got 1 day, 2 day, and long weekend 3-day trips to the Great Lakes. We'll be going to Lake Huron, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, and the Straits of Mackinac. So, if you'd like to join us, watch the next few minutes and see what might fit into your schedule, what's still available, because they're filling up kind of fast. And we'll also talk at the end about one trip we've got going in August to chase lobsters down in West Palm Beach, Florida. So, here we go.
Okay, let's start with our Great Lakes 1-day trips. These are very, very easy trips to do, and they don't take up a lot of time. With that said, before we go into the details, take a look at the boat that we've got in this photograph here. This is Kevin Schuer's new day charter boat that's going to be running all of our day trips and a couple of our weekend trips. Beautiful boat, excellent seating inside it, excellent entry and exits off the back transom deck that they've got now installed, so it'll be a great way to dive. These 1-day dive trips are quick, they're fun, and they're an inexpensive way to do some Great Lakes diving. So if you've never done this before, this is a great way to get introduced to it. Do it in a very, very cost-effective, time-effective way. Let's first talk about the South Haven 1-day trips. These 1-day trips are designed for just about anyone with an open water certification. If you've been diving a little while, you want to see what the Great Lakes are like. The South Haven trips, which we've got a couple of them scheduled, are really good for getting that first experience in the Great Lakes. Diving on the wrecks that we're going to be jumping on in South Haven, there is the Rockaway and the Verano, and these wrecks are broken up. They're in anywhere from 50 to 70 foot of water. They're fairly easy dives because there's really no way to penetrate or get inside the wreck. And you'll see a lot of lumber laying around on the bottom that are parts of the ship. And from an archaeological standpoint, the Rockaway, we actually helped shoot the photo mosaic for the South Haven Maritime Museum, which is that particular photo mosaic is now in their museum over there, or the library, excuse me. But you can look at this, play marine archaeologist, and imagine how this thing deteriorated and fell apart. And it's really an interesting dive just to see what it's like. And it's not difficult or hard or technical diving. You will see certain parts of the wrecks like the centerboard trunk and the keel that are still recognizable, but a lot of it will also be just lumber. But if you've never done Great Lakes wreck diving, this is a great way to do it. Now, both of these wrecks are going to be buoyed, and so when you want to go dive them, we just hook up, drop down the line, it takes you right to the shipwreck, and then you swim around, come back to that line at the end of the dive, and make an ascent up. You've also going to have a dive guide in the way of one of our NAUI instructors, myself, or Rob, or Warren, or one of our instructors that'll be along to help you kind of navigate around. And if you've never done this kind of a thing, you got someone there to give you a little bit of guidance, so should be a lot of fun. The specific dates for these trips are going to be the following. We've got a group going out May 21st, and on June 11th, and these are the recreational ones that allow people to get a chance to get out and see what's going on. On September 10th, we are going to go to South Haven, but this is going to be on some technical dives on the Ann Arbor 5 and the North Shore in that 150 to 160, 70 range. So, if you're a brand new diver and or a recreational diver not quite into the deep stuff yet, join us on those 2 dates. We've got 3 spots left on the first one and 4 spots left on the second trip on the 11th. We've got all kinds of openings. We've got all 6, I should say, for the technical trip. And this light tech trip is diving on the Ann Arbor 5 and on the North Shore. It's 150, 160 foot depths as an average, not real deep. You'll hit certain parts of the wreck as shallow as 90 to 100. But the use of and the knowledge of how to use dive computers, decompression gases, be able to set up your air consumption rates and those types of things are really a necessity, because the surface obviously is no longer safe when you're in those depths. You better know how to plan and do those dives safely. That's why we need to see at least a technical nitrox and decompression techniques certification or facsimile thereof from other agencies. As I mentioned, you'll start on some of the wrecks as shallow as 90 to 110 feet. You get to the bottom on some of them, maybe 160, maybe 170 if you try hard. On the North Shore, you'll only see 150 at max. That's about as deep as you get, and makes for a fairly easy, fun dive. It's buoyed at the bow, so it's a straight shot down to the wreck. Take a look around the wreck. Even with just a 20-minute dive, you can swim around the wreck probably a couple times. And there's the occasional burbot or lawyerfish on the bottom, but most of the time you'll just study the wreck, find out what it's about, look inside the wheelhouse. Makes for a fun, easy, relatively comfortable technical dive. But there is going to be decompression involved, so those certifications are a must. So with that said, we've got 6 spaces available. Hope you can join us on that one. That's September 11th, and a pretty good time to be doing them because should be pretty much warmed up from the rest of the summer's diving, and the surface waters from 40 foot to the surface should be relatively warm for those decompression stops. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Grand Haven wreck diving on the Ironsides. This is for advanced and experienced deep water divers. And it's a neat wreck because it was a wooden freighter that had arches that ran between the stern and the bow to support the midsection of the wreck, which is one of the first wood freighters on the Great Lakes. This wreck, as we mentioned, lies in about 120 feet of water, and so it's pretty cold down there pretty much all year round. We do have people dive it in wetsuits, even though we would recommend that you use a dry suit if you have one available. The wreck has things that are still partially intact, so you'll see things like its engine and boilers and stuff that are still standing in an upright position, make for fairly interesting viewing. And kind of observe the props are still on it, the rudder's there. The wreck is somewhat intact, so it makes it an interesting dive to go down and check, and I think most people that have dove it generally end up wanting to go back. So the Grand Haven Ironside wreck dates are June 25th. The morning run's full, but we still have 5 spaces open for the afternoon run. And then on August 13th, there are 6 morning runs available. We do not have an afternoon run on this one yet, unless the morning ones fill up. That brings us to Port Sanilac and wreck diving 3-day weekend. This is kind of unusual because it's wreck diving and golfing all in one long weekend. Now that's something new for us. If you've never been to Port Sanilac, it's a pretty neat place. It's got relatively shallow wrecks such as the Sport and several tugs that are in that 50-foot range. It makes it very easy for brand new divers to really have some quality shipwreck diving. The kind of premier wreck, the wreck that everyone wants to go see, is a wreck called the Regina. It's a freighter that's flipped over about 120 degrees, not quite completely over, and is in actually amazingly good shape with really good visibility nowadays compared to what it was 25 years ago when I first dove on it, and we had maybe 5 to 10 foot visibility. Now it's an unusual day when we don't get at least 30 to 50. I mean, it's really gotten much better. So it's going to be really fun diving, and you get to dive on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on this one. The props are available. It's truly a big, very cool wreck, and visibility is improved primarily because of all the zebra mussels, as you can see, attached to the prop and rudder assemblies here. The Sport has got its captain's wheel, and it's in good shape. Very fun wreck to go and explore also. And laying all about the wreck are different little artifacts like this shovel and bilge pumps and things that you would find being used on the ship. So it makes for really interesting exploration. Bilge pumps and all kinds of other things that are laying in and about and around the wreck makes for a very easy, fun diving with, once again, relatively shallow water and lots of light and visibility. So the Port Sanilac wreck diving weekend dates are July 15th, 16th, and 17th. We'll drive up the morning of the 15th and dive in the afternoon. And then on the morning of the 16th, we'll do 2 wreck dives. In the afternoon, you're free to go golfing. On the morning of the 17th, we'll do 2 more wreck dives in the morning, and then in the afternoon, after we've gotten back from the dives, we'll drive home. It's about a 3-hour drive to Port Sanilac from Battle Creek. There are right now, as far as spaces available, the morning run will be 6 spaces. There are 2 available there, and then the afternoon run we've still got all 6 spaces available. That one, the people that are diving on Saturday in the afternoon, they can golf in the morning, and then in the afternoon it'll be just a little bit later because we'll leave it probably around 2 o'clock, be back in by 6. You'll probably get home a little later if you end up in the afternoon group for the Port Sanilac Wreck Diving Weekend. Now, with that said, the first people sign up are the first ones to get there, and we still got 2 spots available for the morning runs for the Port Sanilac. Plenty of space for the afternoons. That brings us to the Straits of Mackinac Shipwreck Weekend. Diving, really one of the iconic shipwreck locations of the world. And if you haven't done the Great Lakes and haven't done the Straits of Mackinac, you really got to get up there and see it. It is incredibly good diving. We'll be using Abyss Dive Charters on this one. Dan Block owns it. We've been using Dan for years. He runs an excellent operation and is probably one of the most experienced charter operators on the Great Lakes right now. We'll be diving things like the Cedarville. This is the bow of the Cedarville. She's over about 110 degrees. We're in about 110 feet water here, so you don't have to dive that deep on this wreck because the bow's bottom starts at probably 40 or 50 where the hull is at. But to get to the good stuff, you're going to be in about 100 foot of water, maybe a little bit more. There are a number of wrecks that lay in that 85 foot range, 90 foot range. The Mathers, the Maitland. There's a variety of them. One of the most iconic is the Sandusky, which you're looking at here. The Sandusky's bowsprit is still intact. Its starboard side anchor is still laying on the deck. The port anchor's down in the dirt. You can see at the bottom of the photograph here, and the visibility is unbelievable. And without a shovel, once again, 85 foot is as deep as you get on this wreck. Really, the visibility, as with most of the Great Lakes, has improved so much that it's almost blue water diving now, where in the old days it used to be a little bit more greenish. We're actually starting to see that blue tinge because the zebra mussels have cleaned things up so much. So, the Mackinac Shipwreck Weekend dates are July 29th through the 31st. You arrive sometime on the evening into Mackinac on the 29th, and then we'll dive the morning and the afternoons on Saturday and Sunday, the 30th and the 31st, with your drive home late afternoon or early evening on Sunday. So for the late afternoon group, it's a little bit of a long weekend on Sunday, but not bad. It's about a 4.5 hour drive from Battle Creek to the Straits, depending on the traffic, and well worth even it being a little bit of a late night on Sunday, because believe me, the Straits of Mackinac are just fabulous diving. The last weekend trip we've got this go around for the 2016 summer is Whitefish Point wreck diving. It is amazing diving. In fact, experiencing Lake Superior's amazing wrecks in probably one of the most pristine environments you'll run into. If you like hiking and that type of thing, you will love going to Whitefish Point. One of the good things about diving whitefish is the fact that there are fewer zebra mussels. One of the bad things about diving whitefish is it's cold. So this is really a place that should, and we do kind of encourage the use of a dry suit. If you don't have one, you should get one, or rent one if you've been trained in them, because you'll definitely have a better, more enjoyable experience if you do use a dry suit. And as good as the diving does tend to be up in Whitefish in Lake Superior, as a general statement, the bad news is we have filled this trip up already. So the only thing I can tell you at this point, if you'd like to dive whitefish, give us a call. Put your name on a standby list for whitefish, and if someone has to drop out, you'll be the first to be called and get you on that spot. So, just in case you want to get put on that waiting list, the Whitefish weekend dates are August 19th through the 21st, and you'd arrive on the 19th of August, dive the mornings of Saturday and Sunday, the 20th and the 21st of August, and then drive home in the late afternoon or early evening on the 21st. So, with that said, let's talk about the last of the trips that are going to go this summer, and of all places, it's actually down in Florida. Diving West Palm Beach, Florida, and hunting for lobsters isn't just necessarily a lobster hunting trip. It's lobster hunting, it's shark diving, it's wreck diving. It's also diving with Goliath groupers and a lot of other types of marine life, so it's more than just a lobster hunting trip. We've been running this lobster trip since my son was about 12 or 13 years old. That's Matt in the middle holding on to one of the lobsters, and he is now 21 and still joining us on these trips. We'll show you how to catch the lobster, what tools you need to do and have in order to be a successful lobster hunter. Once you've got the right tools for the job, we'll show you how to catch these lobsters, or sometimes known as bugs, by teaching you the proper technique so that you can come back with your limit at the end of each day. Here's Matt a couple years later. He's out 20 when we took this photograph, and a couple of lobsters that he caught on the last dive. We're going to show you, once you've got them out of the water and you've measured them and you know that they're legal length, how to take them and clean them. And the cleaning process has got some technique to it, and we've got many years of experience, and we can show you how to do it so you get all the nasties out and get to keep all the good stuff. If lobster hunting isn't your thing, that's okay too, because we've got lots of shipwrecks to dive. It's all in really, really nice water. There are Goliath groupers spawning that time of the year, so if you want to see some of the largest in the grouper family, these Goliath groupers are 200-300 pounds. They're just massive, and they're spawning this time of the year, especially if it happens to be a full moon when we're down there. Many times you will find these Goliath grouper hanging around large structures like the shipwrecks. So when you're doing the shipwreck dive, oftentimes they are also there. But it's not just large creatures that you see on these wrecks and on the reefs in West Palm Beach. Oftentimes there's many small creatures such as this little guy here. This is a scorpion fish. And you also run into rock beauties and queen angels and French angels and all the typical tropical fish you expect to see on most dives in Florida or the Caribbean. Palm. So with that said, the West Palm Beach dates are August 7th through the 13th. We arrive in West Palm Beach on the 7th, sometime in the afternoon, so if you're driving down or if you're planning a flight, plan on getting there sometime after 2 or 3 when the hotel allows us to get and checked in. And then we'll dive the 8th through the 12th, staying the evening of the 12th, and then departing and checking out of the hotel on the morning of the 13th and heading home, whether it be a flight home that you've already got arranged or if you're driving like I am. So, with that said, those are the trips that we've got coming up this summer, the summer of 2016 at Subaquatic Sports. Please give us a call. Let us know what you'd like to do.
So that's it. That's what's coming up for the 2016 summer in the Great Lakes. I hope you enjoyed the information. Hope we get you to sign up. If you need more information, please feel free to swing by and pick up one of our flyers on the Great Lakes trips. It's got everything on there along with more details as to prices and times and all that good stuff. If you're interested in joining us down in Florida for the lobster hunting, we've also got a flyer on that. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you diving with us soon here at Subaquatic Sports.